By the end of this video, you are going to be the gathering queen. You're gonna be able to gather anything and everything that you've been wanting to. Make sure that you have your bottom thread and your top thread pulled all the way out so you have extra thread. Now you're going to place your fabric underneath the foot, place your foot pedal down, and make sure that your fabric meets the edge of your foot. And then we are going to change our thread length to size 5. Now you can begin to sew. Remember that it's not necessary to back stitch on this. So our sewing machine is giving us big stitches, which is going to help us be able to pull the thread to give us gathers. So I'm gonna do 1 row of stitches here. Stitch all the way to the end, lift up your foot, lift up your needle, and pull the fabric away from the sewing machine, just to give you some extra threads. Now cut those, and we're going to repeat this again and create another row of stitch lengths. Now we're going to match the edge of the fabric to the edge of the tape and create another row of stitches. You want to make sure that you don't stitch over the original stitch that you just created. You want to leave enough space from the existing stitch line to the new one. You stop, lift up your foot, lift up your needle, and pull away from the machine, leaving excess thread. So now that you have your 2 stitch rows, you want to take a pin and place it in one corner and take your threads and weave it through the pin like a figure 8, just so that these threads stay in place. And just weave it back and forth into the thread so that you get some type of knot like this, but something that you're still able to take out. Now go to the other corner and you have 4 pieces of thread. You're gonna wanna take the top 2 threads from your stitch rows and separate them. Take a hold of the 2 top threads and place your other hand across the fabric and glide the fabric down the thread. And this starts to create a gather for you. You can continue this throughout the whole piece of fabric, where you're just gliding the fabric through the thread. And this is creating a natural gather for you. Now you can evenly distribute the gathers within this fabric. Keep doing this. Make sure that you don't grab a hold of the bottom threads. Those will just unravel your stitch. And once we have the perfect gather, what we want to do is go to this corner where we pulled the threads and place another pin like we did in the beginning, just so that we can lock down all the gathers that we just did. So you're going to do another figure 8 between the pin and the thread. And once you're happy with how the gathers look, you can go ahead and place this in the machine. At this point, we want to change our needle length back to 3. Our goal is to make sure that we stitch in between each stitch row, right in the center here. You can keep the needle or the pin in there. Place the fabric at the edge of the tape and just carefully stitch right over those gathers so that we have a permanent gather. And properly fix the gathers so that they're not stitching over each other. And carefully stitch. There's no need to rush through this. Let's do a back stitch really quick just to secure that in. You can now take out your pins, and you can actually take out the bottom row of your gathers so that you don't have this ugly stitch line there. You can easily take it out like this, or you can pull it out, which sometimes can snag your fabric, but I think this is the safest way, is grabbing a seam ripper and being able to pull out each stitch. So there you go with taking the third row out. Now that you just have this clean top stitch of your gathers. I just want to thank you guys for watching this video. I hope that you guys found all this information useful. I hope it inspires you guys to want to sew, and please share all your creations with me.